All right, welcome back to season 6 of our show, and today it's another fine southern dish. We're frying up some beautiful red snapper along with baby lima beans and a gorgeous mac and cheese. I'll show you how to get it done. So check these guys out. These are some gorgeous red snapper. They're pretty big too. So anytime I catch a sale on something, this was a good deal. Got these at $6.99 a pound, so I couldn't turn them down. So we're frying these guys up today. Along with that, we're doing a beautiful baby lima beans. Now these are nice and fresh. These aren't anything out of a can. And these need to cook for about 30 minutes. And how do we do that? We make a nice stock to go along with them. So let's start our stock. So we're gonna take a pot. We'll just put it off to the side. We're gonna start with onions. So we're gonna just cut up a couple of onions, real simple. Just like that. And in the pot we go. I like to do 2 onions. Now I got about 2.5 pounds of limas there. And I'll go 2 onions with them. 1 big beautiful bay leaf. So we're gonna go in with the bay leaf. 1 big beautiful one. We got some garlic. Now whole, just throw it right in. I'm gonna go in with a few of these cloves. You don't have to crush it or anything, just let it release really naturally in there. And then we're going in with 2 gorgeous ham hocks that we always cure. I cure all my own meats. If you look at these ham hocks, they actually have meat on them. That's because I cure them myself. And usually you find these ham hocks, they don't have any meat on them. You gotta do that yourself. And we'll leave a link in the description to us curing them. All right, so there we go. So that's about how much stock I want for the amount of green beans that we have. So judge it out. And this is gonna make a nice, gentle stock. No salt, and just get this on the stove, and we're gonna bring this up to a boil, and we're gonna cook this down for about 3.5 hours. That's how long that this is gonna take, because these hocks, they're cooked halfway through, but they're not cooked all the way through. And this is a very dense meat, very tough meat. So we wanna make this tender, make all the skin fall off the bones, and we'll get this onto the stove and we'll meet you right back here. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, our ham hocks are just about done. Now, those take about, like I said, 3.5 hours to cook, but we're gonna bring back the time a little bit because these beans are gonna take about 30 minutes to cook. And I just want everything to cook in conjunction. This way, everything comes out perfect. So you could use several different things. You could use bacon, you could use ham. So today we're building maximum flavor because I love ham hocks. So let's show you how to build maximum flavor. All right, so we're using a green chili pepper because we gotta bring some heat out of this, right? There's no heat inside this. Now, this is optional. You guys don't have to use it, but what I do is if I have guests coming over and it's too much heat, I'll take this little lining out right here. That's where all the capsaicin is, right in here. So I'll take that right out and then just give them a little rough chop to the point where I'll leave a little bit of the seeds in there because I like the heat. But for you guys, just chop it just like that. And leave them kind of large, so this way your guests, if they don't like hot peppers, they can kind of pull those out. Because if one of those catch you and it's right, you'll be on fire. All right, so here are the garlics. I got some in here with some crushed up onion, but this is what I did. Just gave it a little smush. I don't want it to be too intense because the more you chop this up, it's gonna be very intense. So I'll go like that. And here's your pepper, and this is important. Always taste your peppers because you need to know the heat level. Sometimes you can put these in and they're sweet. So I need heat, so I'm gonna taste them. Now, sometimes you'll get a dud. This one's pretty mild. It's very easy, so what I'll do is I'll go in even further. And see the seeds here? I'm gonna taste the seed. That's got a good amount of heat. And you can actually smell the heat right off the bat before it even hits your tongue. You can taste it. So what I'll do is just break them up and put them right in here like that. My heat level is pretty good, but I think about my guests and I think about my family, and for the people that don't like a lot of heat, And I'm spot on every single time. And also by knowing your guests and knowing what they like, also gives everybody a pleasant experience. So get to know your guests, get to know your family, and see what they like and don't like. And this way you won't waste any food and you won't be stuck eating a meal by yourself. All right, we're gonna take these guys and onto the stove we go. All right, so we have our onions, garlic, and those hot peppers in the pan, and we're just sweating them, letting them go nice and easy. We put a little olive oil in there. We don't need any more fat. Now take a look at this. Here's our hocks. And they're coming along nicely. They're starting to split. They got real soft. Now we've got about another 30 minutes of cooking these. And in the same time, we're gonna put these beans in and let those cook for 30 minutes. So we're just timing everything to be able to cook together. So we started this first. Now this is the finishing touch right here. So we're gonna sweat these down. We're gonna add these into our pot for extra flavor. Just like that, nice and easy. You don't wanna brown these. You just wanna sweat the onion and just bring all the flavor out. And just when you see the onion sweat it, into our pot we go. Now that we got that, it's time to add our beans. So let's just get all of our beans inside. Just like that. And now, this is where the clock starts. So 30 minutes, look at that, doesn't that look pretty? So 30 minutes, and we're all set. You want a little roll to this. A little bit better than a simmer. And just cook them down, but all of that flavor that's in here. We want these a little bit less liquidy at the end, so we'll probably drain out some of this liquid a little bit, but we'll judge it out. And it's enough just to cook these beans in. But we have more than enough liquid and we can always take some out. All right, we'll meet you right back here. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, our lima beans are simmering away with those gorgeous ham hocks, and right now we're showing you one beautiful smoked mac and cheese. Let's show you how to get this done. The first thing you're gonna need is some cheese. So we smoke this cheese ourselves. Now, I smoke a lot of cheese, and when my cheese starts to get a little outdated or it's getting a little, stale, it's been sitting around, this is not too stale, but it makes the best mac and cheese. So I've got some cheese here, a little nutmeg that's gonna bring out the flavor in that cheese. We're making a classic bechamel sauce, which is butter, milk, a little bit of flour. And we're using some nice noodles today. These are shell noodles. So first thing you wanna do is start to grind your cheese. Now when the cheese starts to get a little older, I feel it makes the best mac and cheese. Now if you don't want to use smoked cheese, you can use any cheese you want. But we're using the smoked cheese, and we're going to leave a link in the description and shows you how to smoke your own cheese. You don't need much to do it either. You can smoke cheese in a cardboard box, which we'll have a video along the way showing you guys how to do that as well. So we're just going to grate this down. I got another block inside that we're using as well too. So I'm not really sure how much we're gonna do, but once we're done here, we're gonna meet you on the stove, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, our beans are done. And the first thing we're gonna do is just pull out the meat. So what I like to do is just bring our meat over. I park it in a little bowl like this. Now you could break this up and this will serve a few people. If you're like me, you eat the ham hock by yourself. It works out perfect. All right, so now I'm just gonna strain them out of the liquid. And just put them in a bowl. This is the way my grandma used to serve this. Just like that. Now I put my own spin on the flavors. My grandmother had a garden that we grew up in, and we would just go fresh from the garden. Salt, boil them, that was it. Maybe some onion inside. But as I got older, I took on my own thing. I just doctored them up a bit. That's it. Alright, so we're going to finish putting this in the bowl, and then we'll meet you back here. And save some of that broth, just in case you want to put a little bit more broth on top of your. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Alright, so we were on the stove ready to make the mac and cheese. So we've got our water coming to a boil. So as soon as I see my water starting to come to a boil, I know this is going to take about 8 minutes to boil up, because we want this a little bit on the underdone side. We got our butter going. We're going to sprinkle in a little flour. So basically you want to get this going and have it all come out at the same time. We're going to take the pasta directly out of the water and add it right in here. So I'm just going to sprinkle some more in there. So you want to cook the raw taste out of the flour. Make sure you do that. We got this about on a medium heat now. And just when you start to see the brown a little bit, you're going to start to go in with a little milk. Nothing exact measurements, just keep enough milk on hand. Got enough flour on hand to make a perfect roux. You don't need much. See this little ramekin here? And look down in this pot. See it? I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Cool it down. And here we go. Now once it looks like that, I'm going to add a little bit more milk. And just little by little until you get the perfect roux in there. Just like that. Now that that's heating up, I'm going to go in with all my milk. And I'm going to judge it out. This is where I want to start to bring my heat back down on low. And then I'm going to start to get some cheese in here. Little by little. And I'm going to constantly keep stirring so nothing sticks. Then we'll drop our pasta in and we'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so at this point I'm just stirring. I got my cheese sauce where I want it. And it should look like that. See, it's a little loose right now because the cheese is still melting. You can still see the cheese in there while I'm waiting on that water to heat up. And while we're doing that, we're going to add our nutmeg in. I'm going to add all of it in. I like that taste of the nutmeg in there. It's just going to bring out the nuttiness inside the cheese. So that's why you always want to add the nutmeg to your cheese sauce. Now you're on easy street. So now you could just hang out, slightly stir, just like this, nice and calm now, and you're good to go. And we're going to take the pasta directly out of the water and dump it right in here and let all that starch just tighten this right up. So stick around, don't go anywhere. Alright, so our cheese is ready and we're ready to add our shells. So these are not done all the way. These are about 4 minutes from done. So they're a little on the underdone side, that's what you want. I didn't rinse this at all. I took it straight out of the pasta water and I put it in the strainer so I can get all the water out of the noodle. Alright, so let's put that down. Because if you get any water from the noodle inside the cheese, it's going to loosen it. So now we're just going to finish cooking it inside the sauce and let all of it tighten up. Doesn't that look delicious? There it is. The perfect mac and cheese. Alright, we're going to meet you right back here and we're going to get their fish fried up. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, we got our lima beans done. Our mac and cheese is done flawlessly. Now it's time to fry up some fish. I'll show you how to get this done. So red snapper. Now this is not a fatty fish. These fishes do good when you fry them, I find. They do good baking or sauteing it. It's a warm water fish, so it doesn't have a lot of fat on it. They don't really do the greatest smoking. So anything like grilling it, cooking it fast, it's a great fish for that. One of the favorites for that. You find this a lot in the Gulf. Caribbean islands, they use a lot of this as well too, in the Caribbeans. And we're frying it up today, so we're gonna show you how to get this done. So first thing we're gonna do, I have a flour here, mixture. This is flour, semolina, some seasonings inside. I got some salt, some pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a little cumin powder. And the first thing that we're gonna do is sift this. So this is my used flour. I did shrimp in this, it's about 3 or 4 days old. I don't throw away my mixture, so what I'll do is I'll sift through them. So I'll take a sifter. This is old school. We don't throw away anything. And we'll just sift right through the flour. This gets out any kind of hard pieces that are in here. So just like that, in no time, you won't have to throw away your mixtures, especially if it's a good one. Let me just show you that. Look at that, see? There's all the hard pieces on the bottom. So I'm gonna throw the rest of the flour in here and just sift right through it. You know, back in the days, people didn't throw things away like that. And my mother always saved her flour and her oil, which I save too. I'll fry it in a couple of times and then I'll dump it. But look at that, see? That's all the junk inside there that you don't want. So now, we got our nice, fresh, fluffy flour. So we're gonna take our fish. Now, I don't salt my fish because I like to go on hot sauce. This is the choice that I use on here. If I was using a tartar sauce, maybe I would go with some salt, but there's gonna be salt in this mustard. So I'm going in with a little bit mustard in here. This works great as a binder. And also mustard, it's about 80% salt. So if you salt this on a salty fish already, because this fish is a saltwater fish, it's already got a natural amount of salt in it, your food's gonna be too salty. So I'm gonna turn it over, hit both sides, just like that. And then black pepper. I'm gonna start on the back side, the skin side, just a light coat of that. And that flour, I got some semolina in there as well too. So we're just gonna rub that in. Black pepper on fish goes beautifully. And there we go. And then right before I get this in the oil, I'll put my coating on. So I just wanted to show you guys this. And then onto the stove we go to fry these guys up. So don't go anywhere. All right, so we are pan frying today. This is how much oil you need in there. So before I drop this fish in, that's how much oil you need in here. So always make sure your fish can fit in the pan. You can look at the fish, make sure you have room in there before you even start this. Put the heavy end in first, and then go with the lighter end so you don't get a splash. If you go the opposite way, start with the lighter end first, you're dropping this big fish down into here. So you're gonna need a vessel like this to hold everything. Make sure the fish can fit right into the flour, like this. So I'm just gonna put some seasoning on it, just like this. Turn it over. Make sure I get it patted in there. And then I'm gonna shake it off, just like that. And now again, bigger end. Nice and easy. And there we go. I gotta give that some time to settle in there. Now I'm gonna do my other fish. Make sure your oil comes back up to temperature, because your oil is going to calm down. You see it calming down now? So before you go putting a bunch of fish in here, make sure the oil calms down. You get your temperature right. And now as the fish starts to calm down, I'm going to increase my temperature. I'm just going to slide this little guy over here. This way I have room. Also, watch your oil level. See it coming up? I put my other one in there, it's going to be up to here. And if your flame's too high, it's going over and you're going to have some big problems on your hands, so you don't want to do that. Alright, so this one, shake it off. Again, let's start here. And slowly add my fish. And drop it. And there you go. Again, we're going to wait for this to calm down. And then we can start to kind of set our temperature where we need it. But you want a nice easy fry. And there it is. We'll meet you back here when it's time to flip them. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, time to turn this fish over. Just the first one we put in. Now you see that bubble that came up in the back there on the skin? Watch it go down. Don't pop it, because if you pop that, there could be grease in there and it's going to fly at you. Let it do its thing the way it's doing it. Anytime you fry fish on the bone, it's going to take you a lot longer to cook that fish, depending on the hardness or the doneness. If you like fish well done, very hard, and not very flaky, then you cook it longer. If you don't like it hard and you just want to go a couple of minutes with it, because fish that's filleted will cook very quick. If this was on the bone right now, this would take about 8 minutes to fry. Alright, ready to keep frying? I'll meet you back here. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so these are getting pretty close, and when they start to float like the way they are, you're about ready. Now, I'm not happy with the side that I'm on right now, so I got the skin side underneath. I want that to really crisp up, so what do? Just take your oil very gently and just coat the fish with it. And then you want to try to get the fish against the wall so it's not floating, and then there you go. Just kind of throw the oil over top of it, and that's going to get that side pretty done for you, like here. You're just creating waves so you can get that side done. And don't go over the stove, whatever you do. See that? You just throw it right over. Because if you're on a gas stove and you go over, it'll catch fire and you'll have a not so good day. Alright, here we go. I'm going to meet you back here when we're ready to pull these, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, time to pull these. Now I let these go a good 9 minutes of fish, because they're pretty decent sized fish. Alright. Let's dock that. And make sure you get up underneath and hold it tight. And we're going to dock that. Doesn't that look pretty? Alright, I'm going to fry up the rest of this and meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, this is our last piece to pull. And I want to show you, look how gentle those bubbles are going. Nice and easy, right? That's what you want. Just get the top of that to your liking. And there it is. Just like that. I'm going to use my pitchfork to kind of hold it and drain it. And then right onto the wire rack. That's it. We'll meet you on the chopping block. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, season 6's chopping block. Baby lima beans, fried fish, mac and cheese. Let's show you what we got. Beautiful. Let's just take you for a little tour of this. I'm going to show you the bottom of this because this is, you got to see this. Look at that. Skin fried perfectly. Now this one I want a little dark on because I like that dark skin. And that's how you want to do that. I like my fish fried hard and flaky. So I fry mine a little bit longer. All right, so let's get this off to the side and show you what else we have. Here is our lima beans with those beautiful ham hocks. Here's our mac and cheese. Look at that. Let's get into those lima beans. So let's bring in a bowl. We're gonna bring in a plate. And we're just gonna get into these baby limas. This is what I grew up on. And this was my favorite. My mom would put a hock in there. And I would always make sure I stole the hock. And then sometimes, as a treat, we would get ham hocks and lima beans. Just like this, the baby ones. So this is how I grew up. And this is how we serve this. Just take the lima and kind of dance them around the ham hock. Just like that. I want to show you something. Look how tender that is. You can just cut right through with the spoon. So that's how tender that ham hock is. So a lot of people use these for flavor. I make them big enough so I can eat them as a meal. I'm going to get a little bit more of those limas in there. And there we go. And then we're just going to garnish this off. A little bit of greenery on here. There we go. Just because all that green looks so beautiful in there, right? Let's just clean this plate up a little bit. And I'm going to turn it back this way. And there you have it. All right, let's get into this fish. So we'll go with a nice size piece of fish. Right in the middle of the plate there. And then I'm going to mac and cheese up with this. So I'm going to get some of those nice shells onto the plate. Nothing fancy about this one. You know, sometimes we do get fancy. There's nothing wrong with showing off a little bit, but eating hearty like this, I think it's way better. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna put this down. Piece of white bread on the side because this is just good eating. We'll put that there. And if we want, we can even garnish inside of the plate. Just like that. Not much. Just a hint to let you know you're there. All right, and hot sauce. This is how I normally plate up with mine. I'm gonna go for just a little bit on the end there. Just like that. The best thing about this is you can make a sandwich out of this. You can make a fish sandwich and they're beautiful to have. Nice fish sandwich. All right, let's get into it. So I'm gonna get some of that hock in there. Just like that. And we're gonna get some of those nice lima beans in there. Those lima beans are creamy. They're sweet, very silky. That's the beauty of a lima bean when you get them fresh. If you cook these frozen or out of a can, there's no comparison. You might as well be talking apples to spaceships. That's how big of a difference it is. That's like fava beans. It's in the fava bean family, but the fava bean is not as smooth. It eats a little bit more hard to the tooth. You can taste a fava bean. But if you've ever had fava beans, that's the closest to it. I feel that the lima beans are just far more superior than the fava bean. And the fava bean is very expensive, so a lot of people put a high price tag on it. The baby lima is way better. That ham hock with it makes all the difference in the world. That's how I grew up on that. Fabulous meal. All right, let's try that fish. Look at this. Flaky. That fish is fresh, light, flaky, cooked perfectly. The skin is crispy. That's what that pan frying does to it. It's a big difference from frying in a deep fryer. If you get pan frying down and you study it, you master it, you learn it like everything else, and it's gonna take you a little bit of time. You'll never have a fish that tastes that good, ever. That's how I feel. This combination with the beans and that ham hock, that says Southern all over it. Perfect combination. Let's try that mac and cheese. A smoked cheddar mac and cheese, especially that smoke that's on that cheese. I smoked that with a pretty heavy, intense smoke on there. It permeates that mac and cheese. Now I added a little regular cheese in there too, because that other cheese would have been very overpowering. That just stepped that up next level, over the top. Excellent mac and cheese. All right, we're gonna get organized. We're gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, there it is. A beautiful pan-fried red snapper, skillet fried. We fried that to perfection. We used flour and semolina. Served it up with a gorgeous smoked mac and cheese. Not gonna go wrong with this recipe. And on the side, we threw down some baby lima beans and a ham hock. One of my childhood meals and a favorite to this day. I hope you enjoy this one. It's a must try. And like always, we thank you guys for coming. We enjoyed having you as usual. And until the next time, gotta get that last pitmaster taste there.